Hello peoples, welcome to Legion class guide for patch 7.0 at level 100. Today I'm covering the Warlock class. Before I begin, I will start by saying that you should keep in mind that the class changes were made to suit a character who has obtained their artifact weapon and has reached Legion's max level of 110. So while this may not be the most accurate guide to follow at endgame, it can be a very good place to start. I'll only be going over each spec's basic abilities and how they work together. You can use this as a template upon which to build your talents. If there's enough interest, I can start including my own personal talent choice in these videos, or do a separate set of videos based solely on talents. First up is Demonology Warlock. All Warlock specs now generate and spend soul shards as an ability resource in addition to mana. Warlocks can also summon demons as minions to assist them. There's a demon that deals increased damage depending on the spec of the Warlock. It may be intended to use these demons in each spec, but you're still free to use other demons instead for their special abilities, like a Fell Hunter's Interrupt. To keep from running out of mana, use Life Tap to restore 30% of your maximum mana at the cost of 10% of your maximum health. It's efficient to use Life Tap at 70% or less mana, but using it every time you reach 70% mana would mean less time dealing damage. To minimize this, use Life Tap 2 or 3 times when your mana is nearly empty. Make sure to keep an eye on your health and do this only when safe to do so. Demonology Warlocks can summon a Felguard, while Affliction and Destruction cannot. It has an attack that hits all enemies in front of it, helping with area of effect damage. Shadow Bolt is a basic cast time spell used to generate soul shards. Doom also generates a soul shard. It deals high damage after a long duration and can be applied to multiple targets for increased soul shard generation. It grants a soul shard only when it deals damage, and not if the target dies before then. Soul shards can be spent on Hand of Gul'dan and Call Dreadstalkers. Call Dreadstalkers costs 2 shards to use. It summons 2 Dreadstalkers to attack your target for 12 seconds. With a 15-second cooldown, there's a small amount of downtime. Hand of Gul'dan calls down a meteor of wild imps to attack the target for 12 seconds. This spell spends up to 4 soul shards and deals more damage on impact and summons a wild imp for each shard spent. The impact also deals damage to enemies around the target as well. Demonic Empowerment is a spell that increases the haste and health of your demons by 50% and their damage by an amount equal to your mastery for 12 seconds. Since Dreadstalkers and wild imps only last 12 seconds, use Demonic Empowerment after summoning them to increase their haste, health, and damage for as much of their remaining duration as possible. Make sure to keep Doom on targets to generate soul shards while casting Shadow Bolt. Keep Call Dreadstalkers on cooldown and spend excess soul shards on Hand of Gul'dan. If Call Dreadstalkers cooldown is about to end before you have 4 shards, to get the most out of Hand of Gul'dan, use Call Dreadstalkers. For area of affected damage, use only Call of Gul'dan. After you've used it for the first time, use Demon Wrath to deal damage and generate soul shards. It's a channeled spell that causes each of your demons to deal damage to enemies within 10 yards over a short time. Hand of Gul'dan is the preferred spell here since it summons more demons than Call Dreadstalkers. Don't forget to cast Demonic Empowerment after each Hand of Gul'dan. The Felguard also has an ability similar to a Warrior's Bladestorm called Fellstorm. The Felguard strikes all enemies nearby every second for 6 seconds. That's it for Demonology, now for Affliction. A Fell Hunter is the demon that benefits from an Affliction Warlock. The damage of their primary attack, Shadow Bite, is increased by 50% for each of your damage over time effects on the target. You'll want to keep these effects active on targets to maximize the damage you and your Fell Hunter deals. Corruption applies a damage over time effect to an enemy for 14 seconds. Agony applies a damage over time effect that increases over time for 18 seconds. After refreshing this, it maintains its current damage level. Agony also sometimes generates 1 soul shard. It's important to have this up on 1 or more targets as much as possible. Use Drain Life if you don't need to refresh Corruption or Agony. It's a channeled spell that deals damage over time to an enemy and heals you for 200% of the damage done. To spend soul shards, use Unstable Affliction. This costs 1 soul shard to use and deals damage to a target over a short time. Each time Unstable Affliction is refreshed, its damage stacks. To use this effectively, generate a large number of soul shards, then cast it. Refresh it before each duration ends and keep Agony active to increase the amount of damage it deals by generating more soul shards. Unstable Affliction is most important spell to keep refreshed while it's being applied. then Agony for generating soul shards and maintaining its maximum damage, and then Corruption. Casting Unstable Affliction repeatedly with all available soul shards will result in a damage over time that deals high damage over a short time. If you instead wait a second or two to refresh it each time, it becomes a damage over time that slowly increases in damage over a longer duration. In both cases, the same amount of damage is dealt. There are advantages to both. The former can allow you to quickly kill or deal a lot of damage to a target. The latter has a higher chance to deal more overall damage by having more time for Agony to generate soul shards. For area of effect damage, use Seed of Corruption. After it expires, or if the target takes a certain amount of damage from your spells, it will deal damage to all enemies within 10 yards of that target and also afflict them with Corruption. To use Seed of Corruption effectively, cast it repeatedly on the same target. Casting Seed of Corruption on a target already afflicted by it will instead apply it to a different nearby target. Make sure to keep Agony active on your target. Corruption will be applied and refreshed automatically. To avoid generating excess soul shards, alternate between Seed of Corruption and Unstable Affliction. That's it for Affliction. Now for Destruction. The Imp is the demon that benefits from a Destruction Warlock. Its firebolt damage is increased by 50% against a target afflicted with your Immolate. Immolate is a damage over time that has a 15% chance to generate a soul shard each time it deals damage, or 30% on critical strikes. Keep this active on your target. Conflagrate is an instant cast spell with 2 charges and a cooldown. It deals fire damage and also generates 1 soul shard. Incinerate will be used while you are waiting for Conflagrate to recharge and don't need to refresh Immolate. It's a standard spell that deals fire damage. To spend a soul shards, use Chaos Bolt. It has a slightly longer cast time than Incinerate, but it deals a large amount of damage that always critically strikes, and its damage is increased by your critical strike chance. You can use Chaos Bolt as much as you'd like while you have anywhere from 2 to 5 shards. As with Affliction Warlock, spending more in a short time will deal high damage quickly. Because of its long cast time, it's possible to gain a soul shard from Immolate while casting Chaos Bolt. To avoid this, cast it once you reach 4 soul shards instead of 5, to avoid missing generating an extra shard. To deal damage to multiple targets, you have Havoc and Rain of Fire. Havoc is a debuff that lasts 8 seconds on a single target. This causes your single target spells to also hit your Havoc target. Because of its cooldown, you can only apply this to 1 target. To get the most out of this, generate 4 soul shards, apply Havoc, target a different enemy, and cast Chaos Bolt twice. With enough haste, it's possible to cast Havoc, switch targets, and cast Immolate before casting Chaos Bolt twice. Rain of Fire is much more effective for area of effect damage. It costs 3 soul shards to use, and deals fire damage over time to all enemies in a selected area. To use it effectively, keep Immolate on several targets to increase soul shard generation. Cast Rain of Fire whenever possible. If there's a short moment where Immolate doesn't need to be refreshed, and you can't use Rain of Fire, use Conflagrate to generate soul shards until you can. If Conflagrate is unavailable, cast Incinerate. And this concludes the class guide for Warlocks in patch 7.0 at level 100. All of this may change slightly or a lot depending on your talent choice. Whichever you decide, this will be the model that you build your character upon. If you'd like to know more, have any questions, or want to request a specific class for me to go over next, you can check out the video description for more info, or feel free to leave a comment. If you liked this video, leave a like. And if you want to see more class guide videos or anything else I do, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, be swell, stay well, farewell.